what industry do you work in, and what are some of your skills and how you help others?
So right now I work in continuing legal education. So I have quite a bit of extensive customer service experience. I've worked at a hydro company, I've worked at banks, retail. So I've had my fair share of customer service experience. But I've wanted to do a little side project. I have a degree in art history, and it's something I've always been really passionate about. So I've wanted to try and do something like that on the side, to try and like share my passion with people, but I'm just so overwhelmed on where to start and like what to do. So that's what
it makes sense. Tell me a little bit more about this project that you're looking to start. That way I can make sure I give you specific action steps.
Of course. So I want to sort of like, I love spending time sourcing art and like finding new artists, whether it's on Instagram, Etsy, Facebook, really anywhere. And I want to be able to help people find affordable art for their space, whether it's for an office space, their home, and not necessarily even original art, but more affordable art, like, on Society6, art prints and things like that. Something that people don't necessarily have to make a large investment in, but if it's something they want to maybe interchange for the season, or I don't know, they outgrow it, they won't feel as guilty about letting it go.
Yeah.
I also want it to be like a platform to just even expose people to art.
Cool.
Yeah.
So kind of educational as well as people can purchase.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. And so do you know what your revenue structure would look like within that yet?
No.
Okay. Of where you'll make money to actually make it sustainable?
I figured like maybe just charging people while I like to source time, but then I feel that's hard to put a value on it. So yeah, I'm kind of torn.
Yeah, because most art dealers, they make a percentage, or but then they're also selling, larger quantity, and or the amount that they're actually selling per piece increases.
So this is more for my time to help, which.
Yeah. So we'll need to figure out, one second. I'm just trying to, okay. We're going to need to try to figure out also what your actual revenue stream looks like, because so often people will go into business and they're like, oh, this is nice. And yes, you figure things out along the way, but it'll be really important to know where your short-term cash and long-term cash is coming from. Yeah. Are you already doing any of it?
Honestly, I've got like bits and pieces saved. Like I feel like I've got the name, branding, logo, and even just like images saved up for my social media and stuff like that. But I'm just like, where do I start first? Website, business cards, business,
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So that's kind of your challenge right now. What you're looking for clarity on is, where do I start first?
Yeah. Like, how do I get this idea out into the world?
Okay, cool. The first step, I would really figure out your business structure and really look at, Alabi, would you mind muting yourself? We might end up losing her.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I would really figure out your business structure. All of the other like front facing things, website, all that sort of stuff is great, but you need to know where you're making money from. There's no use you putting any money if you don't know where you're going to be making money. It's okay to start small. Like, it's okay for you to say, you know what, I just want to start with, sourcing a couple pieces, getting a feel for it, seeing if I actually like it, and taking either a flat rate or a percentage of whatever you find for them. So starting as like a mini art dealer.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing that people need to do is also create traction and start small and gain evidence that like, hey, you actually like this. This is being open to your business also changing and evolving, because so many companies and so many people will say, oh, this is the business I want to start. Then they start and realize they hate it, or realize that there's a way better way to do it. And then everything's out the drain. So don't spend money on like all that other stuff until you actually know what you're doing. I think so many people spend way too much time on all that stuff when really at the end of the game, you're in business, obviously to provide value, but to also make money. You can't continue if you don't make money. So just making sure that you understand that business structure and start small. If you want to do a business card, I obviously get it because you can meet people. However, nowadays it depends. Well, who's your target demographic? Do you know?
I'd probably say like 30s.
Yeah. Okay. So if that's your target demographic, it's very acceptable to, oh, we have someone in the waiting room who's trying to come in. Okay. It's totally acceptable for you to add them to Instagram, for you to add them to social media, and or for you to have a digital card that they can take a picture of and you can send to on your phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, people just don't use business cards that often. Your Instagram now can be your social media. I'm always looking at saving you as many expenses as possible because starting a business in the beginning can be really expensive.
Mm.
So looking at, okay, so we have your business structure, we have your target demographic, and we have your business cards. For your target demographic, I'd really encourage you to start surveying and talking to these people. Have you done so already? Okay. So start surveying them so that you can gain more information for your business.
Okay.
Start asking them, what do you want? Is this something you would look for? Would you pay for this service? What are you interested in? You're really focused on finding out two things. Where are they right now? And where do they want to go? Even within your industry. This applies in any industry. So for your example, where they are right now is maybe they're like in their 30s wanting to learn a little bit more about art, and or just moved into a beautiful home and they really don't love it. You're looking for their pain points. Where are they now? What are their challenges? What are their pain points? What's keeping them up at night with regards to your specific industry? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you want to know, okay, where do you want to go? If we were to work together or even within this industry, what is your vision? You want to love walking into your home. You want to, what are some other elements? You want to love your art. You want to become more educated about art. You want to be able to go to art events and feel like you aren't a fish out of water. You want to be able to present yourself or network in different crowds, right? Just really understanding why. What is their why to gaining more information within your industry? And then you want to sit with all that information and really look at, okay, what can I provide here? Is the service that I want to provide the only service I can provide? That's when you really start to build your offer and start to decide what is your company and how can you solve a problem that is currently occurring in the industry. And you'll realize the problems within your survey as well. And I'm sure you already know some of the problems, right? Some of the problems, obviously, which you know already, which is why you want to do this, is a high barrier to entry, right? People don't want to spend a ton of money, but they may want to do a starter piece with you. But then how can you continue managing that engagement and managing that client over time? So you might see that, yeah, you have like a starter offer for people who don't know much about art to educate and learn. But if they really like you and you provide a great service, they're going to want to continue working with you. So really just taking the next week to really survey, to really understand your target demographic, to really understand what pain points do you want to solve and how are you going to solve them? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once you figure out how you're going to solve them, that's when you can start building your offer. So that's what I'd really focus on over the next week, maybe 2 at max. But if you really get down, you can do this over the next week. You message your friends, create a survey on SurveyMonkey or Google Docs. And then that way you can just send it out and say, hey guys, I'm looking at starting, a passion project. I'd love your feedback so I can make sure that I'm providing value. and just message as many people as possible.
Okay.
You can even post it within the ladies community if you want. Thanks for being here. And so that would be my first step. I also want to break down, and this was also taught to me by my mentors. So often we head into business like what we were talking about before, and we don't have a revenue model. You're going to wake up a year, 2 years from now and think, man, is this all worth it? Like, I'm not making any money and I'm like starving for food. It's okay for us to make money, and we need to be talking about that. So I want you to think of your business in a couple different steps. Your first step is generating your customers. So this is lead generation. This is getting your email database. Your email database is gold. You need to make sure that and I'll go a little bit more into how we can do that. I want to just give the bigger picture. So you want to really make sure you're building your community, number one. You're getting their emails. Your community is your leads. Your community are your clients. Then you want to look at building an offer that meets the needs of your clients. And then you want to sell your offer. So it's really simple. I think we just complicate it way too much. So you should always be thinking, okay, what step am I in and how can I make sure I'm doing this? 80% of your time as an entrepreneur is going to be on sales. And when we get too distracted into everything else, that's when our businesses fail. So you want to really focus on your sales and how to find more clients and how to sell to them. So number one, your community generating leads, getting their email addresses. You can do this in a couple of different ways. Do you have an email database or anything right now? Are you familiar with this concept? Okay. So you're going to want, obviously, to either start Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All of these are really great platforms. Something to keep in mind, a community on TikTok, a community on Instagram is not a community that you own. You want to make sure that you're still building community on social platforms to then generate them into your lead generation system so that you can be getting their emails and getting them into your sales funnel. And how you do that is a couple of different ways. When you build your social media platform, you have to make sure you're always giving value. Don't be afraid that you're giving too much information away. People want to know and trust you. So after you do this mini survey, you realize, oh man, people really need to be educated, which they do. How can you educate people on your social media? If you are the number one educator of art to people, young professionals, that's your thing. And you can continue to educate them of what they're looking for, how much they can spend. People want to know. I do not. So I remember when I had first started really getting into social media, thanks to one of my mentors, I was like, what do I say? Like, what do I do? What do I give? And he actually said, if someone were to buy my course, they would get all the same information on my social media. However, on my social media, it's not organized. I give like one here, one there. Nobody's going to actually sit on my YouTube, sit on my social media and watch everything. They pay for convenience of a course. They pay for convenience of your service. So don't be afraid that you're giving away all your secrets. They're not going to do it on their own. They want you. They want to trust you. And what it does, it also validates why they're paying for you. Because if you say, this is what I do, when you hire me, they're going to say, well, I don't want to do that. Sure, I'm going to pay Leah to do it too. You're showing them all of the value that you're putting into your service. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. So then you want to really make sure, okay, you're building your social, you're building your community. Now you want to make sure you're generating leads and getting their emails. How you can do that, you can get their emails via webinars. Now during COVID, it's amazing. You host free webinars. You just want emails. You can also be a guest on podcasts, on other community pages. And then you can also have a free download. I think we've all seen, when you have like, oh, download my 5 tips, to find the perfect art for your home, or to buy the perfect art piece, or to source the perfect art piece. You want to have a quick download. This does not have to be complicated. People make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. And so just have like my 5 tips. You can do it as a PDF. You can build it in Canva. Canva is a free service. It's super easy. And then you just have a download that people can download. You can set that up within your email provider, where you can have their opt-in. They give you an email. And if any of this stuff is confusing you ladies, let me know and I can further explain. If you want more clarification, let me know, send me a DM after, and I'm happy to help you. So making sure you have your emails. Does this first step make sense to you, Leah?
Yes.
How does that sound? Anybody else? I know, Alabi, we were having some difficulty with your Wi-Fi. We have another person in here, SS. I don't know what your first name is, but let me know if this is resonating with you. You can even put in the chat box if you don't want to come on live. Who's SS? Can I get a hello from you before we move into the next step? Let's see. I want to make sure it's an actual person, because they've been having all these like privacy things breach in Zoom. Who's SS? Can I get a hello? Are you there? Let's see. Hello. Let me know. If not, I'm going to boot you out. Okay. SS, if you can let me know who you are, that would be awesome. And then we'll get going. Hello. What is your name? Sorry, on the telephone. Sheila. Awesome, Sheila. So glad you're here. Okay, sweet. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next step. So you have your community, your lead gen, getting emails. Start your email database now. Your email database is who you sell to. It's who you provide your offers to. Once you start to build your community, make sure you continue surveying your community. You ladies will see, even within social media and Facebook and Instagram, I'm surveying people all the time. You really want to understand, what are their pain points? What are my clients going through right now in any industry? So for example, during COVID, you are going to have issues where people may not have the same disposable income. So you're going to want to tailor your message and an offer to meet wherever people are at. Okay. So I even modified some of my coaching packages knowing that people would want more short-term packages. And I figured out a way to give them a slightly cheaper rate by doing something different. Yeah. Make sense? Okay. So always survey. The other thing that people, when you survey, will help you with is that they will give you their problems in their own words. This is going to really help you with your marketing and with your sales copy and your website copy, because they're going to tell you the words that they're using and the language they're using. Because when we're professionals and experts in our field, sometimes we talk in language that does not resonate with the average person. And this probably happens in art too. So people will think like, Leah, I love you, but what are you talking about? So making sure that you're communicating on the same platform. Okay, so then we go into survey, as well as building your offer. This goes back to what we already spoke about. So we want to talk about what would be really fun for me to offer. What would be awesome? Like, here's where the money thing comes into play. Because people think, oh, and the revenue structure, right? And Leah, you and I can talk about this a little bit more privately if you want, but it's really important for you not to think, not to limit yourself. Because you can think, I'll just take a percentage of my art pieces I sell. But what if your offer was so much more? I want you to have a really fun brainstorm session, and we'll actually do one today as well. And that way I can show you. So I want you to have a really fun brainstorm session. And I want you to think, what would be super fun for me to be able to offer people within the art industry? maybe like a personal shopping experience, a VIP night where I bring them to an art event. Like, I want you to really think outside of the box as to what would be a fun experience that I could give them. And I don't want you to think about how am I going to do that? It doesn't matter. It just is helping you to expand your possibility and also increase the price of the offer and package that you're giving them. Because if you start building things, let's say you have a fun art night at your home, a wine and cheese art night that's included with all of your clients, it just continues to show the value that you're providing them. Because maybe, let's say, and I don't know the actual percentages of what people keep, but let's say you're outrageous and you want to say, no, I'm taking 50% of everything I sell. Well, if you can say I'm taking 50%, but then I also offer you, this event and these interactions, and I teach you how to do this. And, there's the opportunities are endless for you. You could build an online, workshop or course that people can buy so that they can do it themselves. I want you to really start thinking outside the box based on the problems that people are having in your industry. Is that making sense?
Yep.
Is this kind of like expanding your thinking a little bit?
Very much.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. Because there's so many ways to do it. And even before, I've been executive coaching and team building for 15 years. And but it was always for other people. And I didn't want to do it on my own because I thought, well, like, I don't want to just be trading my time for money and just be paying per hour. So I had to go out and find mentors that had created multi-million-dollar businesses within the business and mindset and self-development industry. And they all do it differently, but it's possible. So I want to show you that it's possible for you to create a business, create something larger, if that's what you want, within your industry that still provides value and helps people. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely, yes.
And I think it's super valuable for you to look at other industries that are doing this, because you could innovate your industry, right? If there are no courses, if there are no workshops, if there are none of these things that people are doing in self-development, business, luxury goods, fashion, you can look at any industry and think, can I bring that into my industry? Would that solve a problem and a need that they're currently having with that my target demographic is currently having? Does that make sense? Yeah, because it could be super fun. Like, I was even talking to a friend of mine who does mobile massage. Oh. And I said to her, look at all the mobile industries. How are they doing it? Mobile food, delivery, like, think about everything so that you can adopt and take ideas from different industries. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's kind of your offer. And then you want to go into your sale. So your sale, Leah, if you talk to me a little bit more about your vision. Do you want to create something that is like, do you want this to be your full-time thing, or are you not sure yet?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, and that's totally cool. Just keep an eye on that and think of like, okay, what do I actually want this to be? What is my vision here? How do I want it to add to my life? Do I want it to be, my career or not? Also making sure that your fear is not getting in the way.
That's a big
one. Because if it's your fear saying like, I don't know, then it's not good enough, right? Because you can do this if this is what you want. Just making sure that you have the support and guidance helping you along the way. But your sales I believe sales is the number one success factor of a successful entrepreneur. For a couple of reasons. Obviously, you need to continue to make your business stay afloat, but you could offer the best value in the industry. And if people don't know about you and you don't know how to sell, then you're never going to be able to help. And sales happens in every single channel. It will happen on your social media. It's going to happen within your emails. It's going to happen on the phone and in person. So it's really understanding the entire sales process and how to make that happen. Tell me a little bit more about your sales skills. Is that something that you feel strong with or not?
Not really.
Okay. I'm going to send you a couple things. DM me on Instagram or Facebook after this,
Okay.
and I'm going to send you some sales training as well.
Thank you.
The big picture of sales is I want you to always just think about having a conversation. All you need to do within your conversation is you're asking them questions 90% of the time on a sales call. You need to just understand, where are they now? So it's the same thing like we are doing in your survey. Where are they now? Like, what are their challenges? What are their problems? And then you want to understand, where do they want to go? And then you want to know, okay, am I the solution to this problem? And if I am, how do I tell them that? And if I'm not, that's okay too. Can I refer someone to them that will be a solution to their problem? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
1 second. My boyfriend just got on the phone and I think he's pretty loud, so I want to close the door. Okay. Man, so I have this new desk. Can you tell that it keeps going up and down?
Yeah.
There's a thing on the side, like a power thing, and I keep touching it when I move, and then it moves it up and down. So I'm gonna have to turn it off when I don't want it moving. I just got it, so it's kind of new. It's kind of fun though. Okay, yeah. So the sales will be really important and can be fun. Like, sales is not bad. I love sales. Like, sales is one of my favorite things and something that I've learned to love over time by really just making it a conversation and being very invested and interested in the other person and what they need.
Right.
And if you've built your offer to help people like them and you can actually help them, then it's a no-brainer. And then it just comes with little tips and tricks as to how you communicate that, so that you're making sure you're communicating it in the best way.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling right now. Are you feeling overwhelmed? What are your next steps so I can help guide you along the process?
Well, everything we've gone over up until now has been very helpful. Things I haven't even thought about at all. I am a little bit scared about the sales thing. It's not my niche.
Yeah.
So, and I know that's probably the more important thing. So.
Yeah. And it's okay for you to take the next month to do the other stuff I was telling you about. Survey, start building communities, start showing up, right? And then I'll send you the stuff on building community and sales. Within your social media, you can sell too. Right? And it always comes back to, what are the pain points and how am I helping them? That's it. And so you'll notice even on my social, I'm always thinking about what are their pain points? What are they experiencing? Why does this matter to them? How can they apply this? How can they learn? And always giving people tips. So you can break it down into 4 sections when you're selling on social media. Number 1, it's like an email subject line. You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. The second step is always a pain point and why it matters to them and what symptoms they might be experiencing in order for them to know if you're right for them. Then the third is giving them value and giving them their tip. And then the fourth is always a call to action. So it could be a comment here, DM me here, download this, reach out for me here. And then you kind of go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say, going through social media, should I, after I do the surveying and all that, should I already have my Instagram, even though I haven't yet figured things out, just so people have somewhere to go to?
Yeah. And that you can actually start providing value and showing up. You should do a story every single day. You should do a video and photos. You should be posting on your feed every day, whether it be a video and or a photo. And then there's other strategies, obviously, to continue to expand, finding different people to collaborate with. I have a cat hair on my lip. Finding other people to collaborate with that can refer you people, networking, that's all part of it. But at the end of the day, you still want to have that structure there so that when you are networking, you have somewhere to send people.
Great.
And then you can continue to show up. And you're not going to see the results right away. It's going to take you like 30 to 60 days to even see your community like start to grow. But it's worth it. Because if you're in it for the long haul, then, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And just start small. Start asking people, hey, I want to do this. Like, do you know anyone? Do you have anyone? Ask for referrals. Do you know anyone that I can work with? Even if you want to try a couple of things out, at a cheaper rate for people as like a little beta or trial, that's okay too. But just get started and then get proof as you go along. And then you can continue to grow and continue to build as you get proof as you go along. So for example, I'm launching a course online, and my coach, the first thing he said to me was, why are you launching it? Do you already have social proof that indicates that this course will sell and that people want and need it? And that's why I'm getting you to like survey and go back to the community, because so often people think, oh yeah, this is going to work. And it never does. And I see it too. All of my clients are like, I'm going to launch this. And then nobody buys it and nobody sells it. Like they put so much work into business cards, website, and they think miraculously when they're ready to launch, like people are going to show up.
Yeah.
And it never happens, right? So it's building the community first as you go along so that then you have someone to sell to.
Okay.
Right?
I was going about it the wrong way. I was doing
the
card website.
Exactly. And everybody does. And it really doesn't matter. Like I would just start, if you want to start with the survey, and then start with, getting a couple referrals. Hey, do you know anyone that I could work with? I want to kind of try out this service. And then get testimonials and feedback as you go along. Because you might work with one person and think, man, that did not work well. How can I modify this so that I can make it sustainable for myself?
Okay.
Yeah. Especially if it's a side thing, you can go about it a little bit more like casually. There's not as much urgency to like launch and make it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like start gaining that evidence and being like, oh, wow, I worked with 3 people and they loved it. They referred me to all their friends. Like that's how it just continues to build.
Okay.
Yeah. How does that feel for you?
Good.
Okay, cool. So send me a text, keep me posted. I really would love to see like how this evolves for you. If you need any recommendations for next steps, let me know. I'm going to be doing these calls every 2 weeks. But for this month, I'm still doing it for the next 3 Mondays. So if you want to come back on, tell me how it's going, and then I can kind of guide you to next steps and keep you accountable to actually launching this.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, cool, awesome. So was this useful for you?
So useful.
Okay, awesome, good. I'm so glad. I'm so happy that it's just you today. Everything worked out perfectly, and so I'm sending you so much positivity and love, and I'm so proud of you for taking these next steps to launch something you're so passionate about.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Well, send me a DM and then we'll talk later.
Okay, great.
Okay,
thanks.
awesome. Thanks, Leah.
Bye.
Bye.